Hi, guys, and welcome to Holistic Life with Kristen. Today, I wanted to talk to you about things that I do not like to spend my money on, things that I have tried to avoid this year. So, one of those things are brand name clothing and brand name items. Um, if the item itself actually serves value because it is a high quality item, then that is an exception. But buying something just for the sake of the name, complete waste of money, and it's completely ridiculous to think that you have to have a specific brand of item for it to be a quality item. So when I am shopping for something, I do have some brand names, but if I have it, it's not because it's a brand name, it's because I think the item is high quality itself. So I have many items that are inexpensive and definitely not brand name that I do feel bring me value, and they are high quality items. And so it is the quality that I am looking at when I shop for something and not necessarily the brand name. Another item that I feel is a waste of money most of the time, there are some exceptions, bottled water. It just seems ridiculous to me, something that should be free, something that basically is free. When I am out and about, I try to carry a little bottle of water. I can reuse that bottle. It reduces the amount of plastic because plastic is a major issue in our environment, and it's unnecessary in a lot of cases. So I prefer to use a reusable bottle when I'm on the go. Occasionally, I do use plastic water bottles, for convenience, but I try to minimize it as much as I can. Um, it's not something I prefer to spend money on, and it's just overall not very healthy for the environment or for yourself because of all those microplastics. So that is just something that I try to avoid. Another thing that I hate spending my money on is delivery charges. So that is shipping fees from online purchases. As much as possible, I try to avoid. I try to buy like the minimum for free delivery, or I only order from places where I can get delivery for free. If it's like $100 or more, if I can't spend that, I will usually just opt to try to find another retailer where I can um, buy a similar item where I can get free delivery. I can't stand spending on delivery charges. And that also includes like curbside pickup charges. I always choose to do curbside pickup wherever I can get free curbside pickup because I'm just not going to pay for that. Otherwise, I'm going to go inside and get it myself. But I will not pay for curbside pickup. And furthermore, is food delivery charges. For starters, fast food and low quality junk food is also a waste of money, something that I also don't like to spend money on. But it's like even worse if you have to pay to have it delivered to your house. So I do not pay to have my food delivered. Um, I suppose if I was in an urgent situation, the one time that I did pay a delivery fee, maybe like one of the only times, is when I had my broken leg. It's a long story, but my grandmother had the worst craving for donuts, and I did have donuts delivered on that occasion, but that was the exception to the rule. Besides that situation, I have never paid for food delivery. I just don't prefer to do that. I just think it's a complete and utter waste of money. Which leads me right into the next thing, which is low quality or junk food. I mean, that is not contributing anything to my health when I pay for that. If I buy fast food, it's not only making me unhealthy, but it's costing me a fortune. So I have stopped buying fast food. And I prefer to, instead of paying overpriced for junk food, I would prefer to reinvest that money into high quality organic foods that are going to nourish my body well. I think that's a much better way to spend the money than to spend it on low quality junk foods. Another category of things that I do not like to spend money on is cards and gift wrap. Well, I understand that this one is somewhat difficult to get around sometimes. My preference is to try to reuse materials that I have recycled, you know, from various different purposes, and try to reuse those items to wrap gifts. Or if I need proper gift wrap, a lot of times I will just go to like the dollar store. I know this is probably something that everybody's got a strong opinion on one way or the other, but I just can't justify spending like $6 or $7 for a roll of wrapping paper, or $10 for a bag that's just going to end up in the trash more than likely. So I would prefer to just buy a little something from the dollar store, $1 roll of paper, and just try to make it look as nice. I mean, I've made some really nice, beautiful looking gift bags with dollar store wrapping supplies. So I would rather take that money that's going into the wrapping supplies, and I would rather invest it into the gift that I'm giving that person, because the gift that I'm giving them is going to last much longer and be much more useful than beautiful looking wrapping paper that's just going to end up in the trash. And another thing that I do not like to spend my money on is bank fees, interest charges on credit cards especially, and ATM fees. Talk about a total waste. You know, I would prefer to choose a bank that has a pretty wide ATM reach so that I don't have to pay ATM fees. I refuse, unless I was in an urgent situation where I had no other choice. I would prefer to avoid those ATM fees. And then I do use credit cards, but they're ones that I use for points and stuff like that. And I'm very diligent to make sure I pay off those balances in full, because I refuse to pay interest charges on credit cards. Of course, if you're going to be using credit cards, that is something you need to do responsibly to make sure you don't get yourself into a situation. My goal is always to make sure I don't get myself into a situation where I have to be paying interest charges, because I refuse to do that. And then, of course, there's bank fees. My checking account has no bank fees. I would not want to do business with a bank where I had to pay bank fees. That is one thing that I just refuse to spend my money on. Next on the list are coffee shop coffees. Actually, most drinks in general when out and about. I would prefer to just buy, coffee, and high quality coffee. For the money that you spend going for a single coffee at a coffee shop, you could literally reinvest all that money into a very delicious, high quality coffee that you can brew at home. And most coffee shop coffees these days, they have so much sugar. I have been cutting back the amount of sugar as I'm watching my weight. Sugar has been a real issue. And so coffee shop coffees just do not fit the bill for me anymore. They're overpriced, they're full of sugar, and usually they're a lesser quality coffee. I can buy much better coffee from the store, make it at home, make it exactly the strength that I want it, exactly the amount of sugar and cream that I want in it. And for so much less money, I can have better stuff every single day, and I would rather do that. Next up are the fashion. Look at me. I obviously do not follow fashion trends. Okay. I wear what is comfortable for me. I wear what feels good on me, and I wear what I like. I don't care what's in fashion. I don't even know what is fashionable, and it changes so fast. It changes with the wind. So I don't know how anyone keeps up with that. But it really is just not important to me, not important at all. I just like to wear what I can afford, wear what feels good, and I'm perfectly happy with that. Not going to be chasing any fashion trends around here. And next are extended warranties. And this I really have a lot of beef with, okay? Because I don't believe in warranties. If something needs to have an extended warranty, I don't want the item, because if it can't hold up for 2 to 3 to 5 years without breaking, I think I'm going to rethink buying it, okay? Probably not worth my money. I do not like extended warranties. And furthermore, I do not like to spend my money on lottery tickets. Now, there is an exception when one of those really large jackpots come around and, you just got to go ahead and buy a ticket for that. I don't go crazy. I don't go buy like 30 tickets. I just buy one, maybe two at the most, a couple. I enjoy participating in those once in a while. We're talking maybe once every 3 years. I buy a lottery ticket. But other than that, consistently spending hard-earned money on lottery tickets, not this girl. Nope, I don't do that. The other one that is unbelievable is unused subscriptions. I know it's hard to avoid. It's so easy to sign up for things and then forget that you signed up. But the worst thing of all that I can't stand spending money on are unused subscriptions. Such a waste of money, literally just letting money run down the drain. So, I do have some subscriptions, but there are ones that bring me value and ones that I use. I have been real careful to make sure when I'm signing up for something, to think through it before I sign up. And then I cancel it if I'm not getting the value that I thought that I would be getting with it. And then for anything that I am not getting the value that I perceived, I cancel it. There is no reason for me to be wasting hard-earned money that could be going toward organic food. Food is so expensive, but I would rather spend money on something like that than unused subscriptions. And then another thing that I do not like to waste my money on are the newest tech gadgets. I had a friend who sold me their Kindle for $20 because they were going to buy the brand new Kindle, which was, a couple $100. And the only real difference between the one she had and the one she bought was that it was totally waterproof. And I was thinking to myself, I don't intend to use my Kindle in the tub. So, water resistant. So a regular Kindle will more than suffice. So I got a Kindle for $20. I thought it was a great deal. But I do not go out and just buy another tech gadget just because it's the newest, latest, and greatest. I don't do that. And last but not least are name brand medications. I do not like spending money on name brand medications. Most generic medications, acetaminophen versus the brand name Tylenol, pain relievers, prescription drugs, whatever it is. I try to avoid prescription drugs in general, but of course, obviously, sometimes there's no choice in the matter. But if there is a generic version of an original medication, like for pain relief or everything, virtually every single medication that you could buy has a generic form. And that is what I choose to spend my money on. I never see the value to be any different. Paying for a name brand medication, I don't know if you guys have had a different experience than me, but the generic always works just as well as the brand name. So I do not spend my money on that either. Okay, guys, so this pretty much wraps up my video. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got some value out of today's video. And I'm just outside enjoying this nice weather. I am visiting a Buddhist temple today. And I just thought I would sit here and have a chat with you about, as I was reflecting on this today while I was over here, all of those things that are just, in my opinion, they're a complete waste of money. So I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you all on the next video.